Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. So, I just did the Denver Nugget video a couple of seconds ago, previewing the game. Listened back to it and realized that I wanted to make the video again. I just wanted to do it again. I think there was points that I wanted to make that I don't think I made as clear as I'd like to, and so I'm gonna make them here. The Denver Nuggets, first of all, they should play Bobo, no question about it. The trade was reneged, and they got a second chance at not trading this kid. And I think they should take that as a blessing and turn around and play him, like literally play him. I don't know if he will be able to go tonight. Probably won't, given the fact that he failed his physical, which is why the trade didn't go through. But what I'm saying is overall, I would consider not. I would try to rethink our entire approach as it pertains to Bobo, because at the end of the day, he is a 7-foot guard, and that alone makes him so much more valuable than you've been playing him. So that's the very first point. Before we even get into the game, the way they've handled the Bobo situation, I think it's been a mistake. That's the best way to put it. He should be a better, bigger piece to what it is that you do, to say the least. Or at least a piece. I mean, my goodness. So, yeah, that's first. Second up, the Lakers cannot play small ball against Nikola Jokic. He's one of the best centers in the world. Not going to work. You have to play a center. You have to play Dwight. Not to say that that's going to give you success in defending him, but it does mean that you can definitely see yourself losing and giving him a massive, massive victory from a statistical standpoint if you don't play size tonight. Bron can body him up some, but he's going to shoot over Bron. That's what's going to happen there. Bron's going to end up picking up fouls against this guy. We need the opposite to take place. We need Jokic to get in foul trouble, and we're going to need LeBron to not bang against a player like Jokic. At this point in stage in his not only in his career, because you don't want to be in that physical, but at this point in the season, it's January, middle of the season, on the road in altitude. I just don't want Bron banging up against Jokic, period. So that's something the Lakers need to consider, even though I'm concerned they will not. Campazzo's a player who really, really passes the rock very well. If his three is falling, it could be a thing, because what Jokic will need to be tonight, in my opinion, is a scorer. And if he's considering passing the rock all around, and guys happen to not hit shots or something like that, we can kind of take advantage from that standpoint. I think the Nuggets have been struggling a little bit. Their defense has not been that great, so I believe that the best way to approach this game from a Lakers standpoint is to just try to draw those fouls on Jokic, and then leave Campazzo out there to be a facilitator, as to which they're running guys that are not a part of their regular rotation because of their circumstances of COVID and injuries. So, they're expecting Porter to be out for a while. They're expecting Murray to be out for a little bit longer. So those players obviously are not out there, which means they're running other guys. Now, some of those guys are very talented, but I think at the end of the day, we should be able to do some good things against this team tonight if we could somehow get Jokic off of the floor. If he's out there, I expect him to have a legendary evening, and that could be very dangerous for us, to say the least. So, got to get Jokic off the floor. Now, from a Lakers standpoint, I've been excited about the play of Austin Reeves. He's done some fantastic things, including try to get the Lakers back into the last two games for which we lost. He was doing a lot of stuff down there that was helpful, particularly just making it a point to be aggressive and hit shots down the stretch of games when it seems that the team we were going against and put their B team and C team on the floor. He was kind of taking advantage of some of those lineups and doing the best version of Kobe Bryant he could give us. And unfortunately, we didn't put our starters back in the game and didn't really do things to help him. But over these last two games, he's shown me that he has a killer instinct and a fight and desire to win basketball games. And I'm pretty certain that's going to carry forward as he develops. So we need to honor that and give him more opportunities as he earns them. So those are points that I made in that previous video. Now I want to get to the point of what it is that I want to make here. I've made a video previously that said I'll be the bad guy. I'm ready to move on from LeBron James, and the reason is because of several different things that are making it look as if not only are we not in a position to win a championship in this era, but we're also going to be in a position to possibly have no assets and bad contracts at the end of LeBron's tenure. And I just think that that's a very difficult place from which to rebuild. We are the Lakers, so we can get lucky and maybe maybe get us another super team throwing $600 or whatever, $1 million rather at 3 players and see if we can do this again. Maybe that's a good strategy for the Lakers, but in my mind, that's not the greatest strategy in general for an NBA team. You want to have assets. You want your picks. You want to be able to have cap space. And I just think that with the bad contract that we have in Russell Westbrook, that kind of destroys any chance of LeBron James and Anthony Davis having a chance to play with players that can help them win the championship. And that's the point I wanted to make. You know, it's like at this point, if we can get rid of Russell Westbrook, voila, we've fixed the problem, right? And maybe because we have LeBron James, maybe somehow politically we can pull it off. But if we're unable to get rid of that contract, I don't think it makes any sense to go forward with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. We can't get ourselves anything that'll help us, and so they're just going to have to do the best they can. If they fail, who's to say they don't want to break up? They walk away from us and we're left with nothing. Like, I just don't want to leave myself with any possibility of that taking place as a fan. I think that's a bad place for the Lakers to be moving in terms of the direction, especially when the competition has a brand new building that'll probably be built around that same exact time. You're going to suck. So it's like you don't want that. You know what I mean? You want to put yourself in a position to have sustainable value. Now, a lot of things can go wrong when you play through the draft, but I think we have the advantage of the LA location to where we don't really have to worry about that. Guys are going to want to come here so long as our infrastructure is in place. That's how we got Bron. So in my mind, it just makes sense to know when to fold him as it pertains to this era. I do respect what Bron's doing. I understand that sending him to the wrong destination means you may be putting the NBA champion there. I think it's a good chance you're doing that. So it's you don't want to play around with his value. Nor do you want to play around with his season, because you can change the infrastructure of everything. And it's a bold move to do something like that. But I think it's one of those situations where it's like, I've watched teams wait for players to lose all of their value and get nothing for them. Now, that's cool when you have that player as a legacy player that's been on your team for 1 million years and has won you 1 million championships. You're happy for that. You want Dirk and Kobe to stay. You want Kevin Garnett to finish his career in Boston, even though it's a different situation. You want a championship there. You feel differently about that. When a player is just coming in at the tail end of his career and, you know what I mean, he could possibly look to move on and the plan is to move on, you know what I mean? He's already told us the plan is to move on. You kind of want to know that you're in control of the circumstances as it pertains to the Lakers. If you're the Lakers organization, for which I am as a fan, you want to have control over that situation. And I think that we're waiting for him to jump off of our team, as to which we'll be left with nothing. I think you got to jump out first. I think as the Lakers, you got to say, okay, we've gotten 1 out of 3. This was great. We did good. But now we're sitting here with no assets. We're sitting here with this Westbrook contract that is a cancer to our entire organization at this point, because you can't move it, and you need to get better, right? You're sitting here in the middle of the season, you're 500, the other player is hurt, the one that you got on contract, he hurt, this one over here can't get right, and then you got Bron playing some of the best basketball of his career at 37 years of age. At what point in time do you realize, he's at his peak? When do you start being honest about that? This is as good as it's going to get. Or not. Or I'm wrong. Right? We always leave room for that. But what I'm saying to you is this. How many scenarios, just like I said in the last video, how many scenarios do you see where he continues to ascend on this team? Now, mind you this. This is a determining factor for LeBron James' health. We're running him at center. We're playing small ball and we're losing. He's supposed to carry us through this? And he says yes, because he's done this his whole career. Yes, this is the environment you've created for yourself your entire career. We can't worry about that because you're 37, bro. Like, with all due respect, you're still thinking your body can still do things that it was able to do 25 years ago. I'm telling you, at some point in time, your body's going to let you know. Russell Westbrook's going through that right now. And AD is too in his own way. We need to be honest about that, man. Just because you're a superhuman doesn't mean that you're not human. And at some point in time, you dragging a bunch of nothing is going to take its toll. And it already has since you put on this uniform because you start getting hurt. And that's why you need to understand what I'm saying if you listen. Because you're starting to get hurt. Now, you're missing 40 games out of the season. You should not still want to carry trash to the finals, fam. You should be trying to do the KD thing. Create art on the floor by being on the best team possible. That's what you should want. Instead of wanting the great antithesis of that. So, I'm of the mindset that until LeBron James realizes that it's time to make life easier for himself, for which he may be going through in real time now that he's attached to this Westbrook contract and can't get from underneath it. Because he's used to being able to maneuver as he wishes. He's used to being able to have the flexibility. This, I'm telling you, this is something that, this will humble you, especially if it was his idea. You know this was a mistake. We all know it now. But at this point, it's one we can't undo. So how do you fix yourself? Well, obviously, you trade something. Or you just ride it out and see how far it goes. But then if you're the Lakers, see what I'm saying? If you're the Lakers, if you're Genie, riding it out means that you fall off a cliff when it ends. It don't necessarily mean that you suffer the same fate as the players. They ride off into the sunset. Maybe they win their last championship. We're left with no picks. We're left with Westbrook's contract or the remnants of whatever happens because we didn't put together the right stuff. You see what I'm saying? Now, if we were putting together the right stuff and we're winning right now, I'm not going to say anything because it serves its perfect purpose. Westbrook is playing well. AD's out there being an MVP candidate. We're on our way to our next championship. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But in reality right now, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. That's the problem. You ain't getting what you paid for. So at what point do you realize, okay, this is going to start being a problem? It's not just going to be a losing basketball team. Now it's going to be, where do we go after LeBron leaves? Are we begging him to sign extensions? Please don't retire. Please, are we trying to maneuver to get LeBron James here so that he doesn't have to leave to play with the kid? How does that work? Can you secure that? Can you secure that? I don't think that's possible. So you're going to say goodbye to Bron and you're not going to have any picks to show for it. Are you sure that's a good idea? I know it's not. I'm sure it's definitely not. So that's been my point. That's what I wanted to come here and say. I didn't articulate that best in the video previous. I think I did a little better in this one. So I'll leave this one for you. But at the end of the day, it's time to consider what the percentages are in regards to the situation. What percent chance do we pull it all together? THT turns into who he's supposed to. Everybody just comes together. None comes back and is ascending into a star level player. Like all of this that we're counting on, are we sure that has a good percentage chance of working? Because from where I'm sitting, we're just asking Bron basically to just carry us wherever you could take us. And that, he's a truck. He's an old truck. Still trucking away. He's able to do this, right? History has shown us this is what he does, but I'm telling you something. And this is gonna be the reason why I'm moving on. He'll tow the team to the finals. Does he always get the chip when he does it? Maybe he didn't have the tools. Maybe he was going up against a super team that was created solely to beat him. Hey, I get it. I'm not trying to hold his record against him. But when we're talking about what his functionality is and what it is that we have, which is nothing, and his functionality is to tow nothing to the finals. That's what he does. How often does he win it when he gets there? Nah, fam. The record's bad. If I'm playing the percentages, the record's bad. I don't expect nothing from Westbrook. I can't. All he has proven is that he's not who he used to be, and that contract is just what it's going to be. So I got to look at him as that. If he ascends into the player that I know he's always been and starts giving me big triple doubles with big scoring, hallelujah. We can shut up. So, yeah, maybe that happens. I don't see it playing out that way. Not a high percentage. Once again, not a high percentage of that happening. Okay, AD. Hey, AD is a great player. We know what he's done. Track record proven. Health. Track record proven. He's always going to have health issues. So how can I trust him to be my only center? Why am I philosophizing in a way that puts me in a position to make him my C? How does that make sense? See what I'm saying? It's stuff that the Lakers are doing that also takes my faith away from them. You see what I'm saying? If the Lakers would handle things a little differently and had a different vision for what the team looks like while these three players are on it, I would have a different point of view. Then it's like, okay, I trust the infrastructure. We're going to get it right. No. Nope. Complete opposite at this point. I do not trust the infrastructure right now as it pertains to being able to fix this. Because they put this together. Why would anybody put this together? No, I need to go recoup some assets. I need to make sure that I have picks and space going forward. I have to undo this mess. You see what I'm saying? That's my point. I'm telling you. Because I look, the era I started watching basketball in, I'll use this as an example. When I first started watching basketball, my point of view on the Celtics was that they were the worst team in the league. The worst. I remembered hearing about them having great Lakers, Celtic days and all that stuff. But I started watching in '94. They were the worst team. And it was the Nuggets, believe it or not, team we played tonight, and the Celtics. When I first looked at the standings and started really focusing on the NBA, that was what I woke up to. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a generation of people going to look at the Lakers that way. We got that one championship with Bron, but aside from that, these kids remember us as being a team with a bunch of youngsters. And what we're going to be going forward ain't going to be that great either. Because we're not going to have the crop of youngsters that's coming into the league over the next several years because we don't have no picks. See what I'm saying? So, like, I don't like this. I don't like where it's headed. I look at teams like the Rockets. They got good 10-year plans with the players they got. Timberwolves, you can see it. Us, we're headed the other way. What we're doing is we're at the top of the mountain, getting ready to fall off. And we're going to be on the bottom of the standings over the next couple years. That's how that's going to look. We're going to be where San Antonio, we're going to look like San Antonio. That's how that's going to be. Just letting y'all know. But unlike San Antonio, we ain't going to be getting no DeJounte Murray because we ain't going to have no picks. So, y'all have fun with that, man. Y'all have fun. We're at the top of that mountain right now. What you can do is take the pieces that you have as much as you love them, you scrap it this year because you ain't going to win the championship anyway, you believe, if you believe that. I do. You ain't going to win it, so you just let it go. You think you're going to win it next year? Hell no, we ain't going to win it next year. The Nets still be together, right? Yeah. Okay, Joker's still going to be out there? Yeah. All right. Look at the Timberwolves. They're going to be a year older, Anthony Edwards and them, right? Yeah. Charlotte's going to get a little better. Look at Cleveland. They going away? No, they're not going away. We're going to bring this trio back next year and think we're going to win the championship too? Nope. I don't project us to. I don't even think we'll be that great. I don't believe those three players are going to make it through next season all healthy. History tells me they won't. You see what I'm saying? They're older, all three of them at that point. I'm just projecting forward, y'all. That's it. I'm not looking at this year. I'm not even looking at next year. I'm looking at 2027. I'm looking at 2028, and I'm telling you, we're going to suck all these years. At any point in time, LeBron James says, you know what, I'm done. I'm about to retire. That's when hell starts for us. That's when it goes bad. Because we're not going to have nothing but AD, who may or may not be better than he is right now, and Russell Westbrook. I think that contract should be expiring at that time. Hopefully it does. Maybe we get it, maybe we pair AD with somebody, I don't know. How good is that team going to be? Who knows? But they ain't going to have no picks. So, I don't know. You guys love that? I don't know. I don't love that. I don't love it. So you tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe it's not as drastic as it seems. Maybe AD and Bron are so good together that they can do miracles and get us to the playoffs and beat teams. But I've seen that movie already. What happened with Phoenix didn't work. Seen the movie already. No, sorry, I've seen it. So, what are we gonna do, y'all? Well, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch the Lakers play small ball against the Nuggets tonight. Probably gets their hats brought to them because of it. Austin Reeves is gonna play well. Malik Monk's gonna shoot well. THT may or may not play well. You can never count on what really you're gonna expect from our team. Russell Westbrook, you can likely see he's gonna, miss shots. Turnovers will ensue. These types of things are to be expected now. But what I don't know is whether or not we'll choose to play a center. That's up in the air. Frank Vogel's choices. Who knows? Is it even his decision? Who knows? That's another aspect of the situation for why I would want to move on. That's a whole nother category. What LeBron James' presence does for the presence of the people who have to work with him and around him. What that circus is in regards to what KD was mentioning and how that can be a little bit of a chaotic thing, even though I think we're the perfect organization for it. Of course, we've seen every circus imaginable. But nevertheless, it's like guys are tight. Guys have their hands tied behind their back. Guys can't do things that they want to do. That Buddy Hield deal, that should have been done. That DeMar DeRozan deal should have been done. As it pertains to the thoughts and ideas of what our GM wanted to do. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to express. That deal was on the table. He was ready to make it. It was reported LeBron James nixed it and said, no, we're going to go in a different direction. As to which your GM don't even have the power to be himself. Now, I'm not saying that most NBA GMs do. You got to answer to somebody. But what I'm saying is sometimes when things make sense and you can pull them off, you kind of want to do that, and I just feel like we didn't. We decided to do something that didn't make sense for LeBron James, and I don't like it. Needless to say, I don't think anyone likes it. So here we are. It's another reason to move on. It's another reason to cut your losses. You just stop this nonsense. As I said in the previous video, free the Lakers. This is exactly what I was referring to. I don't think Coach Vogel can necessarily run big lineups if he wanted to. But he's definitely going to have to answer for why he's not. And then you may not be able to be honest. Presence of LeBron James. This type of stuff. Like, I'm over that. I'm over all of that. I'm looking around, our roster looks bad. It's like, because you wanted this? That makes me want to move on from LeBron James. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not disrespecting the efforts he's putting on out there. He's playing great. But I think he designed the team so that he would look this way. That don't move me, man. Only moves me if it results in a championship. That's the only reason I would even watch that. That's not my style of basketball. Personally, I like watching other type of stuff. I like watching teams like, as I said, Cleveland and teams like Charlotte. They run multiple fast-breaking, young players that can jump all over the place. I prefer watching that style. But, we don't have that, and that's cool. But is it when we're not winning? Nah, it ain't. It ain't. So yeah, that's my thing, man. I'm cool. I'm over it. Maybe you say, oh, this that old LeBron James hate coming out from under you. I never really hated Bron like that, to be honest with you. I didn't root for him. I think a lot of the stuff that was going on was media stirring up bull crap. He and Kobe got along. They was friends. So I never hated Bron. I just looked at Bron and said he never had help. But now I've looked back and I've seen everything play out. And now I realize why. It was because he chose certain things to put him in those positions. So I just look at him and say, well, you made life hard on yourself. And that's why things are as they are. I just don't really like making things hard on myself. Not if I can help it, as a fan or otherwise. So it's just a difference in philosophy as it pertains to myself and Bron, is where he wants to see things going forward. I mean, he thinks it's going to help him win, but we're at 500 in January. Not in a COVID protocol season. 3 max contracts, and we've talked about this as well. You just got to know the environment you're in, you know. And I think guys looked at their environment and said, we can defy it. We can defy it in many ways, and if we do, we'll be heralded as the team who did it in impossible odds. And I just feel like, you know, you're not respecting your competition when you give yourself obstacles like that. You're not respecting the environment when players are coming in and out of the lineup with COVID protocol and injuries. When you do stuff like that, you're just not respecting what it is that's outside of your control. You're creating those type of obstacles, you know. So that's how I'm looking at it. Ready to cut my losses. So that's what I got to say, man. The Denver Nuggets game, look, it's gonna be a good one because you're gonna have Jokic and LeBron on the floor, and I'm pretty sure both of them are gonna put up big numbers, try to outdo one another. I think that's how that's gonna go. Usually, LeBron does get the better of Jokic. He really does. But without Anthony Davis, who really does play well against the Nuggets most of the time, without him, obviously, we don't have what we need. So